Okay, I think I got my YouTube stream up and running. Yep, we're up and running again. Sorry about that, gang. Took me a second. Finally got it. I'm gonna have to call. I have to call Spectrum later and have them figure out what is going on with it. When you pass a Blue Sky Live, do they send you the DocuSign paperwork at the end of the day, or will I get it tomorrow? I believe if you go to the dashboard, that process is now automated. So I believe that when you pass the test, you'll automatically be able to sign your documents and get going. Oh yeah. RQ's right. So after the close of the market, you should get a you should get an email about 20-30 minutes after the market close, and at that time you'll be able to make some changes that you see fit. Man, that's horrible. Yeah, where'd the Bulls go? Okay, great, thank you. It's an old account, so hopefully I don't have to trade 8 days since they changed the rules. Right on. Yeah, it looks like the market just can't do anything. Doesn't want doesn't want to do anything. It doesn't want to go up, doesn't want to go down, just wants to stay in this range. Probably just gonna be stuck here till Jackson Hole tomorrow. Especially since, it's in the morning, so we're gonna get all the news right then and there. We're gonna get all that stuff just thrown on our lap. Oh, so Tiffany, to answer your question, I would anticipate that the market will probably be flat going into it because it's so early. And then what you're going to have is the crazy move after. And then probably after that, depending on where the direction is, you know, the market will basically be processing it. And that may be the move for the day, depending on how aggressive it moves. I mean, right now it looks like It sounds like we're not going to get a rate cut. It sounds like we're not going to get a rate cut. If that's the case, we're going to sell nasty, you know. Plus, we're at the bottom of that trend line, so if they want to sell us, it's a good place to offers a offers us a nice little sell down a few hundred points, and then we're set up quite nicely for the rest of the year to start kind of slow grinding, you know. Well, we got a bunch of Fed speakers and all kinds of just Fed speakers, coming on, giving symposiums and things like that tomorrow. So that's why you're seeing that because it's not only J Powell, but it's the whole crew. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be talking about their opinion about the financial market and stability of the U.S. market. So, you know, it's just, yeah, this is one of the reasons why it's really important to know what's going on in the news. Because if you guys are wondering why the market is doing what it's doing, it's like today we're in an inside day. We're in an inside day. Can't break the top, can't break the bottom. Why? Because there's no news today. There's no fuel. There's no gas. You know, we got enough gas to take us around the block and bring us back to the house. So we're only getting test drives in the market, And you also have to remember is the market ranges on a daily basis. Almost every day is a range day. You know, expansions, you're only going to get one or two expansions a week. The rest of the time, you're consolidating in a range. Now, how big that range is on a week by week basis can be very different. So, another way that you can kind of manage and have a better idea of the market's range is you can use the Friday and Sunday opening range gap because there is a gap that usually occurs in that in the Friday closing of the market and then Sunday when the market reopens, you can sometimes find a gap, and if you plot those out, sometimes there are more often not times that the market will range in that because you'll have that range. That's another method you can use to look at the market overall. Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, it's critical that you know kind of what's happening in the sphere of the market, the feds and everything else that's being said. What do you mean, do I ever live for the gap? Like on Sunday, if like I come in and I stream that? I've been meaning to do market prep. Last weekend I actually got caught up with some stuff, but fantasy football and everything else like that. So I had a late weekend and I didn't get to make it on Sunday, but I am meaning to do it. So this Sunday I will be here. But if you guys ping me, I will jump in for sure. Yeah, but if in I'll be in this Sunday for sure then. Let's make it a date. 4 p.m. this Sunday. You got me. I will be here for market prep. Without a doubt. Hey, do I have fantasy football on Friday? On Sunday? Let me double check my fantasy football draft because my mock draft with my I'm doing a traders day trading league with some buddies of mine at Glorious Traders, Mello, and a bunch of other traders. So a bunch of us DGen traders, we're doing fantasy football. The most degenerate thing you'll ever see. The other thing I look for as well is that if you get that range gap and if we're below it, we'll gap to the upside. And it's usually decent points, and you scale in right. I mean, you could just nail that trade. That's why I always say, I'm looking for specific trades that I'm I have a fairly decent success rate with. Okay, good. I think I'm gonna cut these calls. It's not worth it anymore. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get anything out of this. Probably gonna bounce here at some point. Almost halfway through lunch. Look, price action is just, oh, we just broke the low on the orb. Let's move general over here. See who's gonna get. They're gonna, you know, impale him with the candle again. Got it a couple of days ago. Mm-mm-mm. Definitely an inside day though. Probably hold this. So basically, the gap is this, Tiff. When the gap opens, depending on if it's above or below, the theory is that the market will go and fill the gap before it does anything else. So you just have to look at the volume and make sure that the direction is going there. So if the market doesn't head there, you kind of look for the pullback and where it kind of just stops, and you just look for when the market starts to pivot, and that's usually a good spot you can kind of enter into the trade and write it into the gap, and then just kind of, you know, trail your stop or manage the position into support areas that you find along the way. Okay, I'm starting to pay attention to it. Yep, yep. Bait fisherman also plays the gaps as well. There's a few of us that do. You know, you can also look at ES and NQ with those gaps as well. So if you turn off electronic trading hours and you go to regular, you can kind of see what the market will do. See, like, as a matter of fact, that's exactly what NQ did this morning. So you could see it right there on the chart. Whoop, that's too low. That's the opening gap right there. And you can see it here. There's the 830. We created the bottom of the gap, pulled down. This is that trade that General and this is the trade that I usually am trying to collab with General about. So we usually take this trade. You usually do see this in the morning. You just have to be careful because sometimes the gap won't be there and the market will pull up. Like yesterday, that's the market did. Let's see. See, this is what somebody tried to take this trade yesterday morning and they got stopped out of it so fast. It's faster on NQ, but you could see it easier on ES. So you look for that open gap, you see where the market is going to fill it to, and then you just take it out. You just trail it. Boom, done. So definitely, there's ways to do it. Hmm. Some ugly candles, but you know. Well, I hope we're not making the low of the week today. But the last like 2 weeks, we've actually been putting in the low of the week on Thursday, not Wednesday. I used to always look for the low of the week to happen on Wednesday. So that'd be the day that I would normally have a short bias. Oh, nice. We're making the high of the year only down from here. Damn. What do you mean that see this stuff? I don't even know where to look for. What do you mean by that? Weekly, monthly, and yearly highs and lows. I know where to, just never really pay attention to the extreme higher time frames. So I'll help give you some insight to those higher time frames. The higher time frames are going to give you the coup de grace. If you want the best of the best, if you want the best trade opportunity that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, the higher time frames will. You're going to get two things out of the higher time frames. You're going to get a higher confluence out of it, and the move off of a higher time frame will be much more significant than a lower time frame. Or if you're looking for a trend reversal or the breakout, those are the those are the crucial points you want to look for because that's what's going to give you that confluence to be like, that's what I want to look for because this is where we're at. Like the other day that Coach Matt was talking to us about those lower support levels that trend line on the daily that we were testing, which we're probably right at that right now, right? So that first day that we tapped that and I got the indicator and it popped on my chart, I heavily went into it because it's the first tap of that. So I already know that if we hit it once, it's not going to break it. It's going to reject it. But I know that the rejection ought to be a decent bounce. And I was able to capitalize on that. But you can see how you can apply that kind of, your regular trading, right? You're regularly trading, you already have your levels. But it's super important to put alerts on those higher levels and those time frames because that's what's going to allow you to have that edge that what you might be looking at the shorter time frame, but then when you get that pop-up and says, hey Tiffany, look, NQ is at a pivot point or at a support trend line off the daily, you're going to be like, wow. And if you see the price stalls out, your risk to reward is going to be there because you're not going to have a huge stop on it, that. The one thing you're going to want to look for is the exhaustion candle. And that is probably what gets a lot of traders, especially if you're trying to do a knife catch. We all know that knife catching is the worst thing you can do because it's very dangerous, you know, in real life and in the market. Catching a knife is not the thing you want to do. But if you can stack confluences and have a general idea of why you're doing X, Y, and Z, then you should be able to accomplish what your goal is. But again, just like we were talking about that when you're doing aggressive trades, the key to there's nothing wrong with taking an aggressive trade. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking an aggressive trade. But when you take an aggressive trade, you have to have that trade plan there. We talked about that yesterday. You have to know your stop, and you have to. It has to just be. gold for you. That if your stop is 5 points away, that's it. You don't move it. And I'm just using that as an example. But you know what I'm saying is that in order to be that aggressive, you also have to abide by the rules that come with that aggressive trade, which is having that stop there, having a firm stop, not moving it, and maybe having a couple of other rules. Like for me specifically, like when I take those aggressive trades that you guys see me take, there's a close stop. There's a close stop on it, and then I'll sometimes I'll choke up the trade, but it's because I know I'm being aggressive. I know that I'm maybe counter trading, but I know that more often than not, my success lies in those because sometimes those moves, that candle wick, I can maximize and make, $500-600 fairly quickly with very little drawdown, and I can be in and out. So you want to, and for me, if you guys notice, I don't want to be in the market a long time. I don't want to be in the market in a long time unless I'm owning shares in the company. It's the only real time I just want to have my money in the market. The rest of the time, I want to take my money and I want to run. I want to work as little as possible and make as much as possible. Like I always say, that is my coup de grace. That's, that you could put that on me. I'll tell anybody that. That's what you should be doing. Working smarter, not harder. And that's what this is. You could be doing a laborer's job, like Mike always says. This is an opportunity to change your life. So, you got to be able to start lining up those things. And as you're a trader, honing your skills. I mean, look at me talking to Coach Matt yesterday. Coach Matt is expanding my knowledge and even making it to where it's like, well, maybe I do want to start looking at Forex. Maybe I want to start looking at other markets that might offer some a different edge. Because you know what? I, like you guys, I'm also stuck in the same, volume, lack of trend, lack of volume, whatever it is that you want to call it. So, that's why I definitely look at different indices. It will. And you're right on that. It is mostly for swing traders, but if you know that swing trader, your market makers and your institutions, they're not day trading for the most part. They're swing trading. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying bulks of order blocks, and they're swing trades. They're not intraday trades. The only intraday trades that institutions are doing is to bring balance to the imbalance in the market. And even that is just merely their job function as market makers. So that's not necessarily them trading to affect your trade. It's more so to bring in the balance. Whereas like Tesla sold off let's just say $500,000, right? How does that price get reflected in NASDAQ? How does that get reflected in NASDAQ? Someone has to short that market. Someone has to short NASDAQ, and that's what the imbalance brings. It brings the sell into NASDAQ. It lowers the price of NASDAQ to where it lines up with the percentage of loss that in this case Tesla has sold off. And then you start to see that's the imbalance or the balance. If there's a huge buy order, maybe someone bought $1 million of shares in Nvidia. Well, there'll be an imbalance to the buy side. So the market makers will have to come in, buy, and bring balance. And that's where you see the price being reflected. Can I tell them? Shh, I'm calling people. I am calling people. I'm sending smoke signals. Oh, I'm sorry, puppy. I don't think my brain could handle swing trading. You know, I think swing trading is easy. It all really comes down to what you want to do with your exposure. And as you guys are growing and getting better, you need to adjust your risk. And if opportunities in the futures market cease to be for the session, our job as traders is to look for opportunities in the market. So that's why, like me, I started off in crypto, then went to stocks, then went to options, and then came to futures, and then went back to crypto, and then stocks, and now I have a blend. I trade a blend of things. Like right now, like on my charts right now, I've got my Robinhood portfolio open. I've got my brokerage. I got my amp funding broker up on another window. I've got my Bing X on another window. So I'm trading three different markets right now. I'm trading futures, I'm trading options, and I'm trading crypto all simultaneously. Because you know what? Like if the market is just consolidating here, I want to make money. I want to make money. I may not necessarily want to trade all day or take a ton of trades, but I do want to make money. So that's where, over the course of my trading career, I've been starting to, expand into other areas of the financial market, to maximize my time and to open the door for other opportunities for me to make money. If you get a longer dated call, the price will always come back to you. And there's other things you can do. You don't have to buy options. You could buy shares. You could buy TQQ. You could buy QQQ, and they're going to give you the capability of holding the asset. So, say for instance you're wrong, Tiff. Maybe you're wrong, or maybe you know what? Maybe you got an extra $500. You don't necessarily know what you're ready to invest them in, but you want to make a better return than you would in a bank. You could go buy QQQ shares. You could hold those while NASDAQ is running and be collecting. And then when you decide to sell it, you got a nice premium and you made a better percentage than you would be making if you were holding that money in a money market. And your risk is down because you own the underlying asset. Now, you're not going to make an astronomical amount with that kind of port of $500, but you're going to get better than you would get in the bank because you're going to get what, 2%, maybe 1%, interest from the bank, if that. And then by the time you're done with fees, that's like a wash, right? You're getting heavy, puppy. Yeah. Yeah, that would be the most difficult part. That is, if you're in the truck, it is going to be hard if you don't have a bunch of screens. Oh, you'll get it, Tiffany. You'll get it. One of these days, you'll get it. 15 minutes from the end of New York lunch team. Looks like it's just more consolidation, that sell off. 5 minute looks like we got a nice little W that's formed. Dying though on ES. We need to get above that pivot, and we're rejecting right now. We need to get above it. Otherwise, we ain't going up. Bitcoin looks like it's going to continue selling here. Nah, if I could stay away from the London. I'm definitely enjoying Discord though, I think. It's helping me. You know what? When I was first trading, Discord it is everywhere I learned, you know, sitting with sitting with traders that had already had experience and had been doing this for a while. And I would just be my old Discord I was in, it was really cool because they had maybe like 7 or 8 guys or folks, I should say, because there's been in women. It's like, yeah, 7 or 8 folks that they were all just trading options. They were all trading stocks and options. And you could sit there and it was just like information overload. Someone was talking about Wyckoff, someone's talking about harmonics, someone's talking about a megaphone, someone's talking about Fibonacci. And it's just like that. That's exactly what I would hear. Oh, we just bounced off this level off the fib, or oh, there's a bad on the harmonics on the 5 minute on NASDAQ. And I was just like on the keyboard, like like Googling it, just Googling it. Like I had a notepad and I was just like writing this stuff down. Like, what did they say? What's this? What's that? Because, like for me at the time, I was like, I didn't want to come in and be like, oh, well, what's an EMA? And then they're like, you couldn't even do the basic work of at least Googling what that is. You're just going to ask what like a basic indicator is. I would hear them say that to other traders. So, and I didn't want to be like that. So I was just like Googling, I was like, okay, that's what this is. And I had my notepad, I put my notes, and I was like, okay, so that's what this is. That's what this is. And then the following day I would be in Discord, and then I would hear him say it, and then I could ask the educated question. Okay, so if you took the entry off of, the point 0.5 on the fib, then, I would just try to start breaking it out. What confluence are you using? What time frame, and how did you draw the fib? And that's where I started really like understanding and learning, and then they that me learning the underlying of what it meant, like what that term meant and what its function was, and then asking the question to expand, my questions that I had, it was just like perfect. Yeah. Fairly quickly, I was able to pick it up just because, I was just noting everything down. Boom, boom, boom. Like when I hadn't learned options yet. I hadn't learned options quite yet. I was still outside the market. I was still trading crypto. My my best man, offered me and a few of my friends like just afternoon at his office, and he was going to go over how to trade, showing us the charts, what he does, and things like that. And me and a couple of my buddies had already been interested, and we're like, yeah, let's do it, let's go. But what happened is that since I had so little knowledge, I didn't understand what he was telling me. I didn't understand half the stuff he was explaining, or how it worked, or how I would apply it, and most of all, how I would make money. I knew I could use it to make money, but I just didn't understand it. What was the risk? How do I manage my risk? Do I lose it all and stuff like that? You know, so it was really funny. So that happened, right? A year later, a year later, like I think I was going to pick up my kids or something, and I just finished up my day trading, and we were trading options, stuff like that. And I called him up. I was like, Josh, bro, you got a second? And he's like, yeah. What's up, bro? I was like, so is this how you do a wheel strategy? You do 100 shares, you sell covered calls, and I broke it down for him. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, Ruben, that's how you do it. I was like, are you serious? Man, that is so simple. It took me a year to figure it out. It took me a year to figure it out, understand it, and know how to use that segment of the market's options chain to make money. Because before that, I didn't really understand it. And as I was trading and taking my day trades and learning with my friends, I was starting to get that information. I was starting to get the knowledge, the understanding, everything needed for me to start becoming a little bit more, becoming more successful. We've learned everything on our own. We've not had a mentor, and it's been tough. It is the hardest thing. It is the hardest thing. Even me myself, I mean, as I started like kind of, you know, moving along in my trading career and finding, my share of successes and failures, and then realizing the faults in some of my plans, I ran into the issue that at times I lost motivation and, the conviction that I should keep doing this. And I'm sure that's something that you guys kind of deal with. And it's a hard thing to overcome because you're by yourself. You're by yourself in your space. You might be all alone, everybody's gone. What maybe you're taking a break in between your work, but we're all alone and there's no one there to give us any type of positive reinforcement or encouragement to do this thing. This is one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy to make this kind of money. It's not supposed to be easy to change your life because that's the way the system is designed. It's inherently designed to keep people oppressed and poor because someone needs to do that work. So you have to fight for yourself. Be a champion for yourself. Be an advocate for yourself. It's hard. It's hard. And you know what? There were times that, man, I would cry. I've pulled globs of hair out of my head. I've pounded my knees with my fist. I've struggled at times, but my friends, my trade buddies helped me a whole lot. And then I would hear that, oh, you know what, you're doing good, you're doing this. And it felt good. It finally, if it wouldn't have been for my friends, I wouldn't still be doing this. Yeah, I would not be here with you guys if it wasn't for like General, Jay Wiz, and all those folks like that. So it's super important. That's always emphasize your trading buddies because the only they are the only champions for you besides yourself because there's no one else that's walking in the shoes we trade in on a day to day other than the people you see in Discord right there. You look at the names right there, they're there every single day. Yeah, Wiggles, it does. It takes a long time for you to really digest, to really understand it because it's so different. It is so different because there's nowhere else that you can do something like this. So it's not like if you can take this knowledge from something that's relevant to this. Well, that's great, Tiff. I'm glad to hear it. No, I know on days like today it's challenging, and later in the afternoon session, Wiggle Wag is my husband. Oh well, nice to meet you, hubby. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You guys be safe on the road. Okay, we got 5 minutes till the end of New York lunch. Blink if you are safe. All right, so NQ has moved above the 15-minute orb low, sitting at 23,209.75. No, it's all good. I know that there's plenty of other folks that lurk. I'm guilty of that myself. I remember there were times that I would literally sit in like three or four discords at once. Well, no. I would sit in like two to three discords at once. So I'd be on my phone in one VC, my PC in another, and then I had the Android Windows emulator, and I'd have another Discord in there. So I'd be listening to like three different chats. I know this one guy that he has the best. Like I just love his price analysis. The way he talks about it, it's just he doesn't give you FOMO, but just the way he just his levels and stuff. It's just it's very different. But I used to always enjoy it. He's a character. Him and his girlfriend were always having like just hooky stuff going on. So sometimes it would be pretty funny. All right, team. We are out of. Wait, no, we're not. We're not after lunch. Yes, yes. You're right, General. After lunch, rocket ships engaged. Please. I don't think we'll get a down move today, though. But it is looking dumpy. NQ pushed right back into the middle of the orb, going into the end of New York lunch. Gave up all that move. So from 20, 23 213, sold us down to 23 189. Let's look at a shorter time, lower time frame. Oh man, we are looking like selling into the. Yep, tell me about it. It's like boo. It's like Steve's got his chart up. He's got a little bit of a different chart up. I believe he's got a volumetric chart up. I should be bringing my. You know what? I need to bring that in. Is actually what I need to do. That's a gross sell. Breaking lows now. Oh, there's lows. Dang. NQ just broke lows 23 155. Just as I called that I didn't think we would go lower. Proved me wrong just like that. Man. Yep. Like I said, General, I think the move was right there. It was that high of the day. We couldn't get it back up at 23 293 and just continue to reject. And now look, now it's just selling. It's pretty gross. It is my fault. It is all my fault. Look at that. NQ even made a skip. It actually made a gap to the downside with that sell. Now, I wonder how bad gap is. I bet you I got out of that. I had a call on gap with a breakout because it looked like the only thing strong of the day, and it turned into, yeah, I should have faded that. Definitely should have faded that instead of going long. But that's just my fault because I am more bullish. I like more bullish trades. Full port long, go for it. Let's go in RQ. RQ says full port long. Are you offering refunds for blown accounts? Dang, Pete. He's going for it. It's good because you know what? That might be the exhaustion candle we were looking for on the downside that we hadn't gotten. I mean, is this really the low of the week though? No, it would be yesterday. I mean, we still have 23,034. I was in 50 MNQ long earlier when I made 895. 50 MNQ. You'd be better off with 5 NQs. You know that, right? The fees are pretty high on that many cons. I got you. NQ still rejecting. It's a nasty sell. But if we hold, I mean, it could give us a nice move back up. And keep trying to get back in that orb low. We started off with 10. That's cool. RQ, I think you are your own edge. You don't need an edge because you're razor sharp, bro. I like that. Oh, there's that bid down. Bitcoin's about to put in a new low. BTC pushing 1,000, 112,279 at the top of the hour now. 4 minutes past, and Q testing the 9 minute. Still trying to reach into that orb. We got a wick above it here on this 1 minute at 177. Got swatted back down. About 14 seconds on this candle. Looks like it's closing at that 30. Ooh, we just got to push above it. Nice. That's a nice little pushback. Okay. Okay. And keep moving back up quite nicely. 23 180. Okay, NQ now sitting at 23 193. I'm just coming in, moving it to the upside. Man, RQ, you're killing it with that trade, bro. I keep looking at your chart and I see where we're at now, and I'm just like, eesh. A beautiful entry. A little jelly. A little jelly. Catching a rejection there on NQ. Well, dang. And keep filling the hold. Couldn't hold at 190. Back at the 30-minute or below. I'm out of here. I need to get some sleep before work tonight. Y'all have a good day and see y'all tomorrow. You got it, Tiffany. You be safe and we will see you mañana. Hope you had a great trading day. I'm just scoping out the options chain right now myself. One sec. You got it. Market's still continuing to sell to the downside, following hit a trend line. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I do like the little indicator you got there. That's pretty neat. Looks like the market is going to go for lows today. Still got a ways to go. Yes, as low as 6,362. Looks like we're going for it though. All right, Pete, let's get it. It's probably gonna be way late in the day before we actually get some other move. Oh, right on. Perfect. The market's been rough. Been rough days. My first trade in the overnight session on NQ, I lost. Wait, no. My first trade, I was up 100 and like $69. Second trade I took, I was negative $180 ish. And then I scalped along in the morning session, and now I'm up 335. I hit my goal for the day. So I was trying to go for more, but it is what it is. Yep. Yeah, it's been another day of short the pops. You know, every time we get those pops, you just kind of short into them and been working out fairly well. Market tried to pivot, but definitely not. Looking pretty gross going into the end of the day. Say that. I mean, unless they're gonna sell it today into the close and they'll offer us a nice value buy for tomorrow. That if Jackson Hole isn't terrible and it's just more of what we already know, you might get the bounce then, for a nice Friday rally, nice Friday relief rally. We could get something like that. MG is done for the day. Congrats, MJ. Gap rebound? Nah, it hasn't. There's that further push down on yes. Let's go over to NQ. It's gross. I can't believe the market's just doing that. Unbelievable. Let's go to my other chart. I like this chart more. Come on. My levels. Anytime. There's one. All the others. Right in the middle of this range. So right now, main resistance on Q is 23 to 11. What's the rest of this? I'm gonna build out the rest of it. I'm gonna make out the rest of it. Oh, is that push again? And Q's still further pushing down, sitting at 23, 127. 4 minutes away from the bottom of the hour. Oh, almost an hour and a half away from power hour. NQ sitting at 23, 147. Kind of stalled here at the bottom of the hour. NQ catching a nice bid to the upside. NQ pushing 23, 161. NQ pushing 23, 166. That's a heck of a push right there on NQ. Can we hold this on NQ? Nice candle move on NQ there. Let's move up to a higher time frame. Looks like NQ might want to retest the orb below at 175. Currently sitting at 23, 157. But we have been selling for well, let's see, since what, 11, 12, 1, uh, last 2 hours ish. Market's still overall red. Only thing green right now is crude oil sitting at 63.56 a barrel. It is green 1.36, followed by silver at 38.08 is green 0.83%. That's cool. I just want $5 from Coors Light. I don't even remember when I got in that contest. All right, NQ is pushing that orb low again. Testing the trend line. Well, let's see if this holds. Let's see how far we can take this before it putters out. Come on, give us some more upside. I guess a little bit more balance into the market at least. I'd like to see if we can retest that 200 at on NQ at 270. Finally, a nice move to the upside. Let's go. Oh, look at that. It's a heck of a move right there. Let's go. Go NQ. Keep pushing, baby. Getting close to the low on the 15-minute orb. 15-minute orb on NQ is sitting at 198. We're about 7 points away from it, team. I went ahead and picked up some 637 XSP calls. Picked those up at the bottom for 36 cents. They're sitting at about 74 right now. 100 and 111% green on those right now. 113 now. We'll see if we could hold and get a candle to open above or below. Come on, put these in the money. 5 cents out the money. Come on. NQ, hold that orb. Don't reject. There's that push. Wow, let's go. Last buy signal was beautiful. Yeah, it was. You can get another push. Come on, push it up. Come on, NQ. You can do it. Give it up. Come on. Oh, there we go. Boom. I just sold one contract. Cut one contract at 95 cents for 157% profit. Let's go. Apple's starting to catch a bid. NQ holding quite nicely. Calls. That XSP call is doing quite well now. 19 cents in the money now. See if we can hold this level. We've already covered most of the position, so we should hit 215. Nasty rejection. Looks like I took a. It looks like I took profit just at the right time on that trade. Man, I almost like top tick that wick. Bunch of liquidity taken here. 188 PV. You mean 188 parabolic break? Is that what you're saying? Gotcha. Pull that. Sorry. I can't wait to take a nap tonight. Yeah, look at that on NQ now. On ES, I'm sorry. Well above our pivot mark now, so that's definitely a good thing. We're at that pivot. Come on, keep it going up. I don't want you down. Meet this recovery. ES made a nice V right there on the one. Let's see if it's. Oh, look at that. You could see it on the three also. The five. Look at on the five, you could see it for sure as well. Nice. Okay. Let's keep this V-shaped recovery going. Nice. Now, can we get to that orb high? Maybe VWAP on ES. Oh, there we go. There's that push. Come on, give us that next leg up. Get us to that orb high. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Nice push on ES. Getting close to that VWAP. All right, Sly, there's your mark right there. Sly says we're gonna get here, and we just did. Congrats on that call out, Sly. Congrats. I hope you're green, bro. I hope you're green. Nice push to the upside on ES. Testing VWAP. Come on, get over it. Break it and get over it. Let's go. Boom, we just tapped VWAP team on ES. 6,395, 94. Now, can we get to the orb high? Orb high is at 6,395. Little rejecty there. Can the three continue though? Can buyers continue buying this up? Still interest, or are we gonna just range back and go back to lows? Yes, trying to make a reattempt to get over rewap. Come on. Come on, Bulls, do it. Send it. Push it. Brought us up here. You got that V shape. Don't putter out. And we're giving it up. Oh man, there come the sellers. Anyway, I'm out. Good luck. Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm already just like cut this runner myself. Oh man, because there comes a sell. Is the sell gonna be that aggressive down? I'm out. I'm out. I'm not even gonna. I'm not gonna give it up. I'm still up over 100%, and I'm not giving up 100% of profit for nobody. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a crazy day, my friend. Talk about a crazy day. Dang, MSTR can't pick up. Like Apple might be starting to struggle. And Helix Grouse. And at that. Like it's ready to just it's more than ready to roll over. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we still got 2 hours left. Nasty rejection. That bring it right back down. It's like Bitcoin's ready to start selling it as well. And Q holding that 15-minute orb low for a change. Quite nice. Nice to see that. And I'm worked. I am worked from today's trading session. It has been a lot of ping pong price action. Pretty rough inside trading day. Yeah, we are in it. Definitely. Okay, and Q holding again. Take a look at ES. Oh, look at that. ES is going back for VWAP. Can it? Will it? It's there. I should message Coach Matt and see what he thinks his end of day target will be. But you guys, anybody have any targets for end of day where we'll be? Interested to see where you guys think we might be. All right, yes, is catching a bid now, boys. Let's go. We're at the top of the hour. We're an hour away from power hour. Let's go. What are we gonna do now? I'm hearing that more of the feds are becoming more hawkish. It seems like, there's more folks now that are leaning towards the side that they don't want to cut rates. How about you guys? You guys think we're gonna get a cut in September? President Trump is pushing hard. I think he'll eventually get what he wants. I think he'll get the rate cut, but it won't be until next year. You know, I think unfortunately though is that the Fed is being put in this precarious situation that they almost have to dig their heels in and not give a rate cut to appear to be, you know, not swayed by the president. Show independence. That's the scary part about him, doing what he's doing is they might say no just to stuff it to him. Market pulling back on itself now, rejecting VWAP, pulling back under the 9 EMA. Sheesh. Running out of steam here. But, we are an hour from power hours. So maybe we'll get a slight pullback, offer us a little base to build up some more steam to make more upside. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a cut. All right now, General. Just broke under the 9. putting that stuff about pullbacks on the world ain't happen. All right, and NQ is making all-time highs for general degen. Broken the top of my monitor where it's aggressively pushed to the upside. Is that better? Is that what you want to hear, General? You might have been after people's money just above 23 to 13. Might have. You know, let's switch on over to NQ. NQ is probably moving a little bit better. Ah, look at that. NQ is actually already broke below the orb. Oh, that's funny. So it ends up that that Fed chair that's being accused of mortgage fraud is Bill Pulte, which that guy's like all over social media. He's a big hack. His grandfather owns a home builder business or some, yeah, it's a home builder, Pulte Homes and stuff. So Bill Pulte has been just, I don't know, sitting on social media trying to get JPOW and feds fired left and right. As a matter of fact, he's the same person that put out the news story that J Powell had turned in his resignation. Same person. Yeah, so I'm hearing reports of where Bill Putti put out false documents about J Powell resigning. Now there's questions about his statement about that Fed chair that committed mortgage fraud. So basically, now people are looking at whether or not, how legitimate his claim is on this mortgage fraud, since, there does appear to be a lot of misinformation that comes out of his camp. All right, friends. I have some phone calls to make. See you tomorrow. Wiggleswagon, have a great afternoon. Be safe on the road, my friend. We will see you mañana. I hope you had a great trading day. NQ holding that orb low now, sitting at 23,206. Was that push up? Let's go, General. NQ retesting. Getting it. It's like Bitcoin is starting to catch a bid into the close, along with the market. Just low though. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Now moving a little bit more to the upside. So you can beat those, break those prior 5 minute wicks to the upside. 20 minutes into the top of the hour, 40 minutes from Power Hour team. So hope you guys are having a good day. No, 637s are sitting at $1 now. 51 cents in the money. Quite nice. Man, that was the strike. We get that push into the orb high. Things will probably go to like $1.80. Maybe start pushing the $2 mark. I got a little bit of money left, so I don't know. I might take a last end of day trade. I wouldn't mind taking a futures trade. Hey, Ivan, how's it going? Absolutely. We're much better than Take Profit Trader. We offer same day withdrawals, no consistency rules, various different platforms that you can trade from. You should stop in the Discord. We offer free trading classes every Thursday. Don't forget, we've got Coach Matt, the man, the myth, the legend. Some say he dines with lions. Some say he yodels from mountaintops, but we call him Coach Matt. The guy's got phenomenal knowledge. He's a great instructor. As a matter of fact, he has taught me some things and opened my eyes into some other areas of the market. So you should stop by and check that out this afternoon. But yeah, we've got lots of great offers, promotions going on. So yeah, feel free to stop in. If not, like I said, jump in Discord. I will drop a link to Discord in chat for you. So if you want to come and meet some of the other traders that hang with us, we have a pretty good group of traders that pop in through the session daily. So feel free to pop in whenever you like. Market is just puttered out here at this level, stalled out at the low of the orb. How are you doing in that position, General? You doing all right? Yeah, I got lucky with that QQQ call or with that XSP off that base. I think I'm gonna wait tomorrow and stuff on on my options trades. I was actually thinking about swinging something, but a lot of uncertainty. There's that market move down now. Further sell. Looks like we're probably going to get selling into the close. Bottom of the hour now. Just wick down on NQ to the or below. Wick low took us down to 23,180. Bulls trying to hold this. Get a nice move on the market now. Retesting that high again. You got that move up to the upside. Amazon catching a bid. Yeah, it's 37 cents or what 30 cents in the money, and they have lost 30 like 40 cents of value pretty much in this last 30. Crazy. Just goes to show, how implied volatility and theta and decay just can make these contracts lose so much value. No, it makes trading futures so much easier. And he's still holding. It's like a bull flag right here. Well, there's that move to the upside. Freaking testing those top wicks again. Still have about a minute 30 left on this 5 minute candle. Starting to catch that bid to the upside now. Let's see if we can hold this. We got 8 seconds left on this 5 minute candle. Looks like we should have formation to the upside now. Market pulling back. Yeah. It's testing that orb low again. It looked like we were gonna regain it and carry it up, but doesn't really look like it. What's going, team? How y'all doing? I see that. It's got a sell signal on NQ as well. It's under the EMAs, the 9 to 26. Dang, General, you ain't gonna get no upside on this. Nope, I came within 20 cents of getting my money yesterday and the money yesterday. Do I get that tilde line? How to get the tilde line on the keyboard? It's got a buy signal on NQ. I think you're getting it. I think you're gonna get it. broski. Got you. Yeah. I got you. That's a tough one. Oh, okay, so that worked. All right, team. Welcome to Power Hour. Coach Matt dropping in with us here any minute. Good luck to everybody in the last hour of the trading day. Don't forget, Coach Matt will be in with us later this afternoon. He'll be in here providing his free day trading class. So don't forget to check that out. Nice push to the upside now. See where we go. That's a nice push. That's hilarious, bro. I picked up some 639 calls. They were like 6 cents. NQ sitting at 23 230 now. Just kind of hold it now. Hey, Coach Mac, good to see you. Welcome to Power Hour.
What's up, Bruce? How
What's
you doing
up?
today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing good as well. What's your thoughts on the market today?
Yeah, a
Uh,
nice, a beautiful, beautiful inside day. Beautiful inside day in the market.
yeah,
A lot of expectation for the FOMC tomorrow, or I'm sorry, Jackson Hole for tomorrow.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, a lot of consolidation and some really great moves. We got some really great moves. You got a nice move in the morning, to the upside. I was able to capitalize on that. Got a got a good sell down. I missed the sell because I didn't think the sell was going to be like that because we moved up and then we got that rejection when we came back in
yeah,
around 10:30. I figured, oh, we might find a plateau there and then start making our move, our next leg up. And that's what it looked like. And then we just puttered out at the 15-minute orb. You can see that on the chart. And then from there is just a consolidation for New York lunch, which was even more sad because it looked like we were gonna. It looked like if the London sold us, so it felt like maybe New York lunch would buy into it.
yeah,
But structurally wise, I mean, we're going nice into the close. We might actually get a nice push into the close. Is what I'm seeing. Is that since the sell came in earlier, gave us that relief, bring us a
yeah,
little up into the close. So that way, also you got people that are taking contracts. They're buying calls and puts right now into tomorrow. So you're going to have buying pressure stepping in where people are anticipating the move tomorrow. There's a lot of people that are leaning on the bearish side and bullish side. I'm hearing
yeah. There's a lot of opinions about tomorrow.
yeah, because as of lately we've been just when these events go on, we've been ripping as of lately. And now you've got a lot of people that are talking about us not getting a rate cut. Sounds like there's more people that are arguing that we shouldn't have a rate cut. So, which is
Uh, it's a debate. There's no doubt about it. But I personally expect them to cut rates. But the probability over the last two trading sessions, over the last three, is went from it's currently at 73.5% right now.
correct.
That was at 86% a couple days ago, 83% yesterday, and after the PMI numbers, which the manufacturing PMI number is really good. After the PMI numbers came out today, the probability shifted to 73%. But then you had Bostic come out and say that rates are too high. There's a debate out there. And honestly, if you were to ask me a week ago, are we getting a rate cut in September? I would have said absolutely. I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. I still lean there. I still lean there, but it's a debate. And honestly, going into J Powell's speech tomorrow morning, I think we'll probably have a little bit more of a better understanding of exactly where the Fed's going to be at in a few weeks from now. But you're absolutely right. It's been a debate on that side of the equation with the Fed going into Jackson Hole. That's not abnormal going into Jackson Hole, but it's very interesting. Technically here, it's been a little little chop today. Haven't seen a lot of consistency. When you're looking at the current price action right now, I kind of like the bull chances to go test that or pie. I like the chances to get it and test up a little bit around the 410 level, maybe sniff out testing that high at 420. But you're really just range bound today in my opinion, going from support to resistance. Hit support a couple about an hour ago. We hit support. Now we're on the journey back up to resistance. The market has no ability to break out today in front of Jackson.
Hmm.
Like break out of like the overnight range or that trend line. It's a little bit of hesitation, but I do like the day trading side of it to get back up into the highs. What's up, Stefano? It's good to see you. By the way, in the lab later on today, here in about an hour from now, we are talking support, resistance, and levels. That is the topic. How's my audio today, Riz?
You sound great.
Oh, fantastic. Maybe I won't have to reset today. So if you had to pick, do you think the Fed cuts in next, what is it? What do we got? 2.5 weeks before the Fed meets again?
Mhm.
Do they cut?
I don't think so. I just have a sneaking suspicion that we're not going to get a cut. I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of arguments to say that we don't need a cut.
There's arguments out there, yeah, no
And
doubt.
I I think the rate cut argument is just too thin. I don't think there's enough to validate that. And then I think the other side of that coin is that the feds are breaking on the rate cut now, and now they're leaning towards not having a cut. And if that's the case, between that and the pressure to fire Trump or fire J Powell, then we're also
Freudian
hearing,
slip there, buddy.
yeah, then we've also got that new Fed chair that is going through that mortgage fraud, which she just made a statement saying that she's gathering all the documents to I guess clear up the questions and concerns about her transaction. So it seems that
Mhm.
she does have everything in line to be able to validate why she did what she did and whatnot. So the other thing I heard was Bill Pulte, which is a big the Fed FHA guy now, that he's the one that is putting all this together that she should be fired. And he's also the same person that said that Jay Powell, and he also is the one that came up with the paperwork and said Jay Powell was going to quit. So I don't know. I see a little bit of hooky stuff going on.
A little
If
craziness going on.
if Trump can get her out, that gives him the leverage to be able to get the vote he wants. But I think that the narrative and all that just I don't think overall it's good. I don't think it's going to give anybody what they want.
Um, I I do agree. I have a hard time feeling bad for the Fed in any capacity. They kind of painted themselves in this corner, but there's there's a there's obviously a it really depends on how you weigh the labor. If you don't have concern over the labor market, you're going to see the inflationary situation turn. And if inflation is a bigger concern than labor, if that, because at the end of the day, you can make this really simple, guys. There's a dual mandate at the Fed. The dual mandate is very simple. The Fed's job is to maximize labor without sparking inflation above an average 2%. That's the entire goal of the Fed. And so when you look at the SCP, the dot plot that goes along with the Fed projection, they have it basically averaged out at 2% by the end of 7. The open concern on the inflationary side of the equation, how is tariffs over time impact that goal of getting inflation back down to 2% by the beginning of 27? And so you look at the inflationary side of it, and inflation is still a concern. And if that's the only thing you're looking at, you're like, Fed should cut. Inflation's a concern. We've seen core inflation go up over the last 3 months. The recent PPI report was very concerning on the pipeline side of the inflationary conversation. If you're concerned inflation, there's data out there and there's an argument out there to say Fed cannot cut in the face of a double dip inflationary situation. That's 1970s double dip inflation scenarios, and those are really, really, really damn people long term. On the flip side, you have a labor market that is quickly weak, quickly weak, and you have nobody that's going to trust the labor data moving forward. Like, just nobody's going to trust the data moving forward. Nobody. What we know is it's weakening, and we know as we go further into the AI development, it's going to weaken substantially even more. And so, if you weigh heavily on the labor side of the equation, which is their mandate, maximize labor without sparking basically inflation. And so, if they cut, they're cutting to offset the labor side, because if they cut, the argument will be the weakness in labor and thus the eventual weakness in consumer will fix the last areas of the inflation. I I find that hard to believe. That's the argument. I find that hard to believe. There's so much money in the system ever since 2020 that it's hard to wipe it out that quick. But I think it's difficult, honestly. I do. I think it's difficult. I'm very concerned about labor. Like, I am personally very concerned about labor. I do not believe the labor market is nearly as strong as what the headline numbers suggest. Um, the affordability crisis is definitely part of that as well, and that's the inflation side. So I don't think the Fed can embrace a Fed cutting cycle risk, but can the Fed reduce the restrictive territory of rate? And that's a secondary question, because interest rates, you have to understand that the Fed has a restrictive interest rate right now. At 4.25%, you are 100 basis points above neutral territory. And so the Fed already has a restrictive interest rate. They've had a restrictive interest rate for the last 4 years. And so the ultimate question is, when should the Fed be restrictive against economic growth? Like, let me ask everybody a question. And Riz, I want to get your take on this too, because I've been giving this a lot of thought. Should the Fed restrict economic growth right now? Just a yes or no question.
Sorry about that, coach. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
So, so, Mike, did you hear my question?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I heard your question. You know that See, that's the curveball. And I think
It becomes
I
difficult when you
think the
think about it.
housing market is the curveball. And the reason I say that is because right now we have the highest amount of mortgage cancellations. People have applications to buy a house, and we have the highest amount that people are basically saying, you know what, nix the house, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I know a trading friend of mine that sold his house when he thought the prices of houses were high. And he's like, dude, I'm going to sell my crib. I'm going to make all this cash. And I was like, dude, I wouldn't sell the house. Why don't you rent it out? He's like, but it's a lot of cash. I can do this. I can do that. He's like, I don't have any responsibilities. And I was like, I get it. I get it. But,
Yeah.
in 10 years, you might. 15 years, you might.
Yeah.
You rent it out, you make 4 grand a month. Anyway, so he sold the house. He's been in condos for a minute now, and then he's like getting fed up with it, and his wealth is gone now. But then now he's realizing, well, what it cost me to buy that house, I gotta save twice that to buy my next house.
Yeah.
So now, not only, and he's a trader, but he's also now realizing, man, I really gotta work if I want to, put the down payment. And with the cancellations now happening at that high of a rate, that does bring alarm because if the Fed is if the Fed doesn't want to cut the rate, they need a reason. So they're just looking for reasons. All right, the housing market now is getting cancellations. We haven't seen that what that would translate into. And we've already seen the housing market crash more than once, and it's a very fragile market. We all know that. That is just the
There's
reality.
certainly more sellers than buyers in the house.
Yes. And talk about an opportunity to make money as well for us as investors, because if we already know that if it's done it once, it'll do it again. But it might be happening at a time that we really, that's the last thing we need right now. So maybe a rate cut will help.
It really is. It really is.
But here's the other thing. You mentioned the labor market. There's a lot of people looking for work.
They're gonna be looking for a while.
There's a metric ton of people looking for work. There's all kinds of people looking for all kinds. My son's looking for another
Job
job.
openings reduced by 2 million in the last few
He's
months.
he's a part-time kid. He's disposable labor. He's exactly what those businesses need, and they don't have room for him. He doesn't cost benefits. He's part-time. So the cost of having him as an employee is much lower than, someone that's 25 or $30 years old. And there's not jobs for them. You know, you kind of start zooming out and seeing all these other sectors and how they're being affected. I think that's why the Fed is doing what they're doing is that, yeah, I just don't think the rate cut will help. I think the rate cut will be the worst thing we could do.
If they're wrong and inflation's worse than what they believe it is, and they're wrong on inflation, and they cut in the face of a double dip inflation, that cut is going to make interest rates twice as big on the actual loan itself. When the Fed cut last year 100 basis points, guys, did the interest rate on a home loan go down last year? Is it down this year in comparison to last year? No. The Fed cut, but we didn't actually see that impact the interest downstream because the bond market is what really drives interest. And if the Fed cuts and the bond market's like this is really stupid to cut, the bond market punishes. And so it's a tough one. I do not envy Jay Powell on this one. I really don't. I am very quick to criticize Fed when I think they get it wrong. I was very quick to criticize the Fed on transitory, on what they did on the inflationary adjustment in 2020 during Jackson Hole. But I do think this is a very difficult decision on what to do because the last 2 months you do have some inflationary pressure increasing. We are seeing it along the line as tariffs are coming online. That's an obvious variable out there, and you're having the labor market implode. Guys, we haven't faced these economic scenarios in the 70s. That's the truth. That's the last time we went through stagflationary analysis, and that's what me really talking about is stagflation analysis.
Here's the funny thing about stagnation is that can create a reverse squeeze.
Oh, absolutely,
And that's exactly what we could have
absolutely.
been having is the squeeze before that happens, and then we'll get the sell.
If I had to say right now, Riz, like gun to head type thing, I'd say they cut, but it's close. It's not a like a guarantee. I don't think I'd cut. 2 weeks ago I would have cut. I don't think I'd cut to. I'd punt.
I don't think they'll cut. I wouldn't cut. I'll stick to my guns, and I'm going to say that they're not going to cut. I think they're going to hold the rate. JPal's gonna say we're gonna re-review and we'll look into it, before Christmas, because what the next FOMC would be November, right?
November, then so September, no, 1st of November, then we get one in mid-December.
Okay, so then it'll be the one in mid-December. That's where we'll get our cut, because the
I would
Christmas.
say December gets a cut too, regardless of what they do here. By the way, I think they cut in December.
Yeah, I think we get a rate cut in December for sure.
Current probability of a rate cut in December. It's honestly, it's pretty high. The probability that we get a rate cut in either September, November, or December is around 97%. Like most economists polled have rate cuts starting in the next session. The real debate is actually it's late October is. So it's October 29th, September 17th, October 29th, and then December 10th is the next Fed date. Right now, the market has two cuts priced in. If the market doesn't get two cuts, you should see a repricing event. That's why I think Jackson Hole is really important tomorrow. If the market breaks that support level it's currently kissing up against on the daily chart, I'll talk about this in the lab as well. I have the market entering the ABC cycle on a violation of that trend line.
It's October.
This is I'll put a picture in to show you the trend talk about on the. So it's connect the dots from May. It's the short term. It's that one right there. By the way, if the market does enter into ABC cycle, we should see some pretty good day trading. I actually don't mind corrections in the market because they become really good day trading environments, and they at the end of a contraction, they become very good. Pick up your favorite stock. Long. By the way, Rez, you know how you sent me some notes on Orb?
Yeah.
I loved it, by the way. Absolutely loved it. I
Cool.
loved how you
Awesome.
like just the excitement over it and how you kind of structured it. Yeah, I really liked it.
Great, great. Glad to help.
In the lab later on today, we are going to be talking a few different things, obviously. But the primary conversation is going to be about levels, support, and resistance, understanding how it's created. We're going to talk about principal polarity, trend lines, moving averages, Fibonacci levels, significant whole numbers, open, high, low, close, and the overnight session highs and lows. And then we're going to define what the orb levels are on the cash open. Well, going to be a fun lab, guys.
You guys don't mind, right? I'm just doing some charting. You got 15 minutes until the imbalances come out. You know, beauty is in the art of the beholder. And that's exactly what chart analysis is. You just take your time, draw your lines, draw what you see. You know, at the end of the day, you might be $4 or $5 off. Look at the chat. We are talking about price action throughout the day all the time. And, Slice says a level, RQ says a level, you know, General says a level, I'll say a level. And at the end of throughout the whole trading session, all of those levels are getting targeted. They're just boom, 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 price. Because what it is, price always comes back to where it was. That's all, you know, analysis is. And then it's about you finding those levels that you see visually and trading level to level. Just price action. Looks like the market is starting to sell. Gave up on that push up. Cut under VWAP, the 9 and the 26.
And also, Stefano, one point on that, everybody has their own time frame. And so, like, if you're looking at a very, very low time frame, really choppy, somebody might be describing price action on a 1 minute chart where you're looking at a 30-minute chart, and you're like, I don't see what you see, because you're looking at a completely different picture of the market. And so that's why it's one of those things that we talked about quite a bit, understanding time frame. My time frames are going to be a little bit different than Riz's. Riz is a little bit different than General. A little different from RQ and Scrubs. Mike. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. But so you don't want to take what somebody else says as the end all be all. They might be looking time for processing. Like, for example, if you're processing a standard scalp or standard day trade, honestly, that's the differences between a standard day trade and a standard swing trade. There's a lot of similarity, but the time frame is different.
Since you had been mentioning the daily, I figured it would be about time for me to go ahead and start doing some analysis on the daily. So that's what I started to basically do.
Yeah, the daily is my core time frame for trading, so I anchor a lot on the daily, a lot. Even on day trading, I'll anchor on the for like important level, not for application.
Probably going to get a nasty sell. Looks like we're going to get sell into the close. What do you think, Coach? You think we're going to break or we're going to hold?
On the Nasdaq,
Mm-hmm.
I think we hold 200.
Let's throw sell. Put a stop at the 26. Yeah, it's been a really interesting day, Coach. Especially with crypto. Have you seen Bitcoin today?
Oh yeah, I'm a little nervous about Bitcoin here.
Yeah, down 1.58% for the day, sitting at 112.03.
It's underneath pivots that were important. It broke pivots 2 days ago that were important. Now it's fighting those pivots on the top side. Got rejected 2 days in a row. You're underneath the 9 daily. You just had a fake out against a breakout. Like, technically, it's not a good look at all.
Yeah.
I do not mind the Ethereum setup.
Really? Did you hear Dogecoin is supposed to be what attacked pretty soon?
What is?
Dogecoin?
I did not.
Hmm. There was a crypto coin named Monero that just recently got attacked, and that same group was able to control over 56% of the hash rate. And once they did that, they were able to rewrite the blocks, do all kinds of stuff with the ledger and stuff. So now their community voted to go after Doge. It's a much bigger market cap, but I'm not sure how that's going to work or how long it's going to take them. It took them, what, 5 months to get Monero.
So they're going after it, huh?
Hmm.
What cryptos do you trade? I just trade Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Same.
Yeah.
I have I have my ears to the ground though, so sometimes I'm on Phantom, and if I see an opportunity, I'll jump at it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Market's getting kind of jumpy here. Yeah, it's getting real wicky now. Not too much volume though. It's not really a lot of volume to be honest.
No, we should see a little spike here when we get imbalances, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Monday was pretty light volume,
Mm-hmm.
but it was definitely lower than yesterday and the day before.
Imbalances come out in five, four, three, two, one. Come Come on, push it. Push it. Look at, come on. They're gonna get over it. Come on, get over it. There you go. Come on, just a little more. You're gonna pop it. I shouldn't have shorted the 200 and even broken it yet. Mm. Yeah, I'm getting sell signals on Nasdaq. It doesn't look like it. Nope, there it is. Come on. All right, it's above the
Bull's
20.
holding.
It's in the nine. Yeah, it is holding. VWAP is next if it can get over it. The volume's coming in now. That's a lot more volume. There it is. Come on, give us a fat candle. Come on. Yes, definitely. Well, that
Hey,
brings up
Red.
the important.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that brings up the importance of just keeping those tight stops. I actually took that in my live account, but I had a much tighter stop. So
Hey, brother, I'm going to head over to my lab link and get ready.
you got it, Coach Matt. Appreciate it.
Lab starts in about 10 minutes, everybody. Hope to see you over there. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. Thanks,
Later,
Coach.
brother.
See you. And we are in the last 8 minutes of the cash session. So hope everybody had a great day. Been an interesting day. There have been a lot of opportunities in the market. Don't forget about Coach Matt's free trading class to those of you on YouTube watching. It's a free class brought to you by Blue Sky. You got it, Stefano. No problem. Absolutely. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see everybody else tomorrow. Also, you folks on YouTube, we will see you tomorrow. You got it, MJ. You got it, Nacho. You have a great day as well. I'll see you later. And we'll see everybody out there on YouTube and there in Discord as well. Thank you guys very much. And don't forget about our launch plans on sale for $49 and $69. Directed funded as well, 20% off. And those $100 specials we've got going on now. So you're looking and looking to get a new account, we've got some great specials going on. And now we're right back to they're gonna hold it until the market completely closes, aren't they? looks like they might just send it here into the close. And it's still just not a lot of volume, very little volume too. What a shame. It would have been nice to see some real price action at the end of the day. Probably will see something in the after hours. Are we going now? NQ is still holding that 23,216 area. It's right below the 200. 'You going for it now? Well, is that going? And Dean, is it gonna go? Yeah, we got like 45 seconds to the close. Mm, 20 seconds left. Oh, look at that. 8 seconds. Five, four, three, two, and ding, ding, ding. There's your bell. Again, thank y'all, friends. Hope y'all had a great trading day. Again, good luck in the market, and thank y'all. I will see y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow.